Welcome back, everyone, to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. I'm Kendall, and I'm personally inviting you to the 2026 Wellness Center Creators Retreat, a 4-day immersion into restoration, strategy, and next-level growth happening September 22nd through 25th in beautiful Vancouver, Washington. Here's the real magic. You won't just learn, you'll experience. Transformational tools alongside other wellness leaders who get it. Community, clarity, and collaboration all in one place. Pick a track that meets you where you are, whether you're just blooming or ready to grow big and bold, and walk away with actionable systems, strategic coaching, movement sessions, spa experiences, and a game plan for the year ahead. Payment plans are available, and trust me, this is the kind of investment that pays you back tenfold. Head to wellnesscentercreators.com/retreats for all the details, and let's make 2026 the year you lead with clarity, ease, and exponential impact. Before we get into today's episode, I'd like to take a moment to chat about our sponsor, Jane, a clinic management software and EMR. Your evenings and weekends should be spent with loved ones, not chasing down your patients and clients for payment. That's why Jane has designed a secure payment solution that helps reduce the amount of time you spend manually following up with patients. Clients can save their credit card details and insurance policy information securely through your intake form, which can then be conveniently processed after your time together. And if they've got an outstanding balance, you can send a payment request via email or SMS that allows your patients to pay off their balance online from the comfort of their homes. To see how Jane can help you reclaim your after-work hours, head to jane.app to book a personalized demo. Or if you're ready to get started, you can use the code WELLNESS1MO at the time of sign-up for a 1-month grace period applied to your new account. Hi there, and welcome to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. I'm Kendall Hagenson.
And I'm Anna Rudell. We're thrilled to have you join us on this journey of creating innovative, patient-centered wellness centers.
As experienced health and wellness providers, we've seen firsthand the challenges of delivering comprehensive, holistic care to our patients.
That's why we created this podcast, to share the knowledge, strategies, and insights we've gained from our own experiences and from connecting with experts in the field.
Each episode, we'll dive into a different aspect of building and growing a successful wellness center, from developing a strong multidisciplinary team to implementing cutting-edge technologies and treatment approaches.
We'll also share practical tips, resources, and real-world examples to help you overcome common obstacles and streamline your processes.
Our goal is to empower you with the tools and confidence you need to create a thriving wellness center that truly makes a difference in your patients' lives.
So whether you're just starting out or looking to take your existing practice to the next level, you're in the right place.
Get ready to learn, grow, and be inspired. Let's create something amazing together.
Welcome to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast.
Hello, creators. Welcome to our Thriving Wellness Center series. I'm Kendall Hagenson, multidisciplinary clinic owner and founder of Wellness Center Creators. In this free webinar series, you will learn from our expert panel on all categories of your wellness center business. Each facilitator in the series is one of our successful healthcare business owners who will be presenting at our Wellness Center Creators Retreat this September. They'll be giving you important insights and highlights from each of their topics. You'll be hearing from me throughout the retreat in September. I look forward to sharing our keynote with you and spending some time looking at how to create a truly collaborative healthcare business, looking at each layer of your structure, systems, team, and culture, and why a collaborative business model is more sustainable, more profitable, and more fun. Enjoy the Thriving Wellness Center series and reach out to me anytime at kendall@wellnesscentercreators.com. Welcome back, everyone, to our Thriving Wellness Center series. Today we have Paul Kuthi. Hi, Paul.
Hello, hello.
So many of you have heard Paul on the podcast before, and Paul and I have done many things together. Paul is a certified story brand guide. Did I say that correctly?
You got it perfect. That's right.
And awesome business coach extraordinaire, and has been my coach for many years. So welcome, Paul. And we're going to talk about story brand today a little bit. We're going to talk about messaging, kind of getting the message across that you want to get across. And you're going to be giving a little preview into what you'll be sharing at your workshops at our Wellness Center Creators Retreat in September.
A little sneak peek, but I promise there'll be something worthwhile, even just this, but there's so much more.
Absolutely. So let's jump right in. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So my first question for you is, why is crafting the right message so important to the success of the business?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we want our business to thrive. We want our wellness practice to grow. And to do that, we need to tell people about it. We need to share why it is that we're unique. What about this makes this the right solution for them? And often, especially today, we are just bombarded with marketing messages and ads and things from every angle all day long, always. And there's a lot of competition out there, and the environment's shifting. And so it's so important to be able to share that message in a clear way that gets people interested and excited and helps you stand out and makes you different from everybody else out there.
Yeah. So why do you think story is so powerful to do that? Like to get our message across?
Yeah. So the reason we use story to get our message across is because our brains are already sort of hardwired to remember story, to engage with story. It really is like a sense-making device in our brains. You know, everything we experience and bring in through our senses, our brain then crafts a story about what it means. And that's how we perceive the world. And so if we can be using those same tools, then it becomes very powerful and very easy to have a message that sticks in people's minds. I mean, think about it, right? Like the people that survived back in the day were the ones that remembered those stories that their, grandparents told them around the fire about why you don't go over that random mountain range this time of year or whatever it is. And the people that could remember those stories and process that and share and tell those stories through generations are the people that did really well. And here we are as their descendants. And so because our brains are there already, we might as well use those strings.
Well, it's so powerful. And I think healthcare providers, especially alternative healthcare providers and wellness providers, understand this so deeply, because in alternative medicine, holistic medicine, and in mental health care in particular, right, this is ingrained in how we practice, right? Like the patient's story is the most important part of how we're going to create their treatment plan, how we're going to work with them forward. And I could go on a tangent. It's the same for leadership, and
there's some common threads there.
Yeah. But I think health and wellness provider business owners, sometimes we don't think about it this way, right?
Right.
We already have this skill set. We care so much about the person's story. We value it and we believe it, right? Like they are the expert of their story. So this should absolutely be part of our marketing. And for those, multidisciplinary practices that you've been working with for the past several years, like what do you see those clinics getting wrong in their message when we're offering all of these different things at our clinics?
Definitely. There's a lot that can happen out there, and it can be confusing and hard to know, what story to tell and how to tell it. And story is the most powerful force one can wield to affect human behavior. But so many businesses either position themselves incorrectly in the story or don't appreciate how to invite the clients into a story that's really about them. Most of the time, I see brands really doing a great job of sharing their story, how they got started and why this work is so important to them and how that work has touched their lives personally and all the great things about their either their wellness clinic that they're creating or the one they already have. And all of that stuff's important, but it's all a story that is really positioning the brand as sort of the hero of the story.
Exactly.
And it's a beautiful thing, and it can be a great story and one that keeps you motivated as a wellness center owner and a builder, but it's not one that a client or someone from the outside feels invited into. Every story has a hero in the story, and as soon as we have two heroes in a story, what do? They usually
They
butt heads.
compete.
They compete, right? Or they
Yeah.
go on separate journeys or tracks, and they have a separate story that's about them. And we
Yeah.
don't want to displace our clients. We don't want to be in a separate story for them. So we have to position ourselves a little bit differently as guides in our hero story. And so the biggest mistake I see is around that positioning. Who's the story about? Who's the hero of the story? Who's playing what role? And then outside of that, it's a lack of clarity. And often we are trying to share too much about the story all at once. And so people are only going to remember a certain amount. And the more we try to add and tell, often the more sort of cognitive load that we are adding. So we're going to talk a little bit around cognitive load. And cognitive load, the easy way to think about this is just how much thinking does someone have to do to understand what you just said? And
Right.
the high cognitive load messages sink, the low ones soar. So we want to keep things simple. People are overwhelmed already. We're inviting clients into a healthcare story about them, and we all know how overwhelming that can be. And so we really want to keep things clear and simple. So two things: positioning, what role are we playing in the story, and what role is the brand playing? And then how can we make it so abundantly clear and easy to understand? The other thing I'm seeing out there is a little bit of a lack of understanding that there really is a need for a few phases in this. And even though we can be experts at relationships, I'm looking at you therapists out there, folks that are really, skilled at working with your clients around these things. That relationships have phases and they build over time. And it really comes in three phases. And we need to have ways to share the story in each of these phases. So initially, it is curiosity. Those things that we're just, maybe somebody learns a little bit about your brand, or they've heard that they've been referred from a friend, and they're curious. So they jump on the website, or they look at a brochure, a pamphlet somewhere, and those things need to have a clear story in them, of course. But if it's clear enough, and we invite that person in, then they want to learn a little bit more. Then they're into this enlightenment phase of the relationship. And this is where you can have things like a guide for your client, or you might have a free workshop or a webinar like this one, right? Where you're getting to learn a little bit more about the experience and understand what it's going to be like. Only then are people willing to move into a commitment phase of that relationship. And a lot of times what I see is folks that are really great about maybe even satisfying that curiosity. Maybe they're educating their clients and they're really offering them some enlightenment. There's often a hesitation, especially in the healthcare space, to go ahead and ask for a commitment, to go ahead and ask for that person to take action next.
Sure. Yeah.
Sometimes that needs some incentive offer. Maybe that means like, let's book your appointment. It can mean a lot of different things, but it's almost assumed, or like we're too polite to ask often. And so that's something else I see a lot of folks that could really think about. What can we do to incentivize that commitment and that next step? So those three phases are key. And these are things that we can build some messaging and have some things created that satisfy each one. Maybe you have a great looking website, but you don't have a way to really enlighten or bring people into that next step. Social media is a great way to do that. But if you're not loving that, it might be something like an open house, where people can come in person and be there, and you can inform and share a little bit more. And then those commitments, maybe that's a special offer. I don't like to necessarily advocate for a ton of discounts, but maybe there's an expiring offer or some special perk, or other things we can do to encourage that next step. But essentially what we're mostly getting wrong, we think about the analogy of a house. Most people's houses are missing some parts. So we think of like the curiosity as like the steps up to the front porch. What's going to make people want to come and check it out? And then on the front porch, you've got sort of that enlightenment phase, what's going to give them a chance to learn a little bit so that they want to finally come inside the door. But most businesses end up looking like this. There's no real sound bites that spark curiosity. There's no real way to enlighten folks beyond maybe going to an intro appointment. But if not ready to do that, you kind of don't have a chance to invite them inside. So that's the real goal, is to create a soundbite strategy. And that's one of the things we're going to be doing at the retreat for everyone who's there, is really breaking down that whole soundbite strategy for all three phases so that people leave feeling empowered and with a clear story and message that is easy to share.
It's exciting. Yeah, so powerful. I think I've so appreciated the story brand framework over the past several years, and it just really helps you laser focus in your business and who you're trying to work with. So, how do you think that people can find that message, that exact message that's like quick and memorable, right? Like it's easy to
Yeah.
remember and then it sticks long term, right? That when people think of their company in the community, they always remember that thing. How can they
Yeah.
create that?
Oh, well, it's funny because a lot of times businesses want to be associated with the solution and want to be seen as the right answer to the thing, but we don't often talk about the problem because problems are hard, and we don't always like to bring people into a space where they're feeling uncomfortable or reminding them of pain. But in order to be a really good guide in this story and to help our hero clients along, often we do need to be able to have them understand and focus on what the real problem is that they're solving. And so you mentioned, like, how do we quickly get it to stick? How do we get people to pay attention? A lot of times when businesses have an opportunity to share a little about themselves or to get into their story, they miss associating their solution or their business and what they do with the problem they solve. And nobody is going to kind of store you in their contact list in their head next to your business name. They're not going to store you next to like the cool logo that you
Mhm.
got, or your amazing website. They're not going to remember you because of that special way that you do the thing and the special solution you have. They're going to have the problem in their brain, and then they're going to have who can solve that problem for me. And
Mhm.
that's kind of the file in their brain that you're wanting to exist in. And so what we can do is really figure out, I like to call it a one-liner, a bit of an elevator pitch, a quick answer to that age-old question. So what do you do? Maybe you have a wellness center, maybe you're thinking of one. What would you say if you were out at a party or out at a networking event, or a friend introduced you to somebody else and they were like, "Oh, that's so cool to meet you. What is it that you do?" Uh, if you don't have an answer to that starts with the problem you solve, you're going to be quickly forgotten, because again, they
Mhm.
store that in their brain next to the problem you solve. And so creating a one liner with a three-part sort of process or framework around this is something we'll be diving into more at the retreat, but you can do it right here and now and play with it and get something really effective. It's problem. We have to state the problem that we solve. Then we move into the solution. How do we solve that problem in a unique way, or a way that makes us stand out? And then what is the result of having that problem solved for somebody? And so that might be something around, how most times when people have a chronic condition or a health concern and they want to work with a multidisciplinary solution, they're running around all over town trying to piece together their care with providers that don't talk to each other. So what we do is we bring everybody under one roof so that they can get the care and the solutions they need in a collaborative healthcare environment that really nurtures their long-term success, so they can finally find the healing they deserve. Problem, solution, result. And that's just off the top of my head, but what's your kind of one-liner or unique way that you can answer that question that sticks for people? That's such a valuable key piece of messaging, and might be one of the most valuable pieces of marketing or messaging that you can put into place this year.
I think for wellness centers, it is the most valuable piece of marketing they can put in place, because when we're offering multidisciplinary services, we have to show the community that it doesn't really matter which service they're coming in for. They're coming in for a problem to be solved in this different experience, right? And
Yeah.
they could really start with anyone on your team,
Yep.
because it's easy to get lost in marketing each little service here and there, and it starts to
Right.
feel very disjointed.
That's so true. That's so true. And we get really used to, especially if you started off as a provider in one discipline and suddenly you're having to reframe this whole idea of like who you even are. How do you answer that
Sure.
question? What do you do?
Yeah.
Well, suddenly you're not a therapist or a naturopathic doctor or an acupuncturist or a chiropractor or whatever. You're the leader of a holistic wellness team. or you're a place that provides, full scope care, or whatever it is that you have as a collection of services, your identity kind of shifts as a guide there. And we can get into the habit and get into the rut of sort of sharing that standard answer we've been sharing forever. I'm a therapist, or
Sure.
I'm somebody who runs a business. That's so general. You start sounding like everybody. So yes, having that shift can be one of the most valuable pieces that someone can really invest in for themselves and their marketing. If you do nothing else for your marketing, get a really strong one-liner and teach it to your team. Have people use
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So how can they have their team know it and use it and really like embody it, take it on board, you
Yeah.
know?
Yep. Messaging only works when it's implemented and used. And so good marketing is an exercise in memorization. So if you remember nothing else from this, remember that you have to repeat it several times. People, what is it, 6 to 8 times before something really
Hmm.
registers and becomes something that people kind of know and action on. So how can we get this in front of your team in different ways? So if you have this great one liner, you've taken the time to craft, like, what's the problem? We have a great solution. Here's our results. Where can we put it where the team members are going to utilize it? One place might be in everyone's email signature. Suddenly every email that goes out is part of your marketing and part of your sales collateral there. It could be that it shows up on a wall in the clinic. It could be taped to a sticky note behind the front desk. I've seen even business owners walk around with like a giant like mob roll of $5 bills, and just every time someone can actually say the one liner, bam, $5. Yeah, suddenly, a week or two in, and maybe you're down $100, your whole team knows the one liner. It's magic.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
places you can use this, though, they exist. You could put it could be the beginning of an About Us page. It could be a social media profile description out there for your business. It can be on a business card. It can be at the top of a proposal or at the bottom of an invoice. The more that you can get that message and that one liner out there, the more it's going to stick, and the more people will start actually using it.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is so powerful. What do you think about AI though? We talked to Scott a
Right.
lot about AI in another webinar
Of course.
episode. And why do you think story is so important and to have this so clear for our businesses with the age of AI?
Right. Yeah. And AI can help us with this, right? Like it can give us some ideas and help sort of filter through some of the messaging, and it can you can type in and get a one liner, story brand style one liner, please. Here's what I do. But what you're going to get back is the same answer that everybody gets back that types that into a prompt.
Mhm.
Right. You're going to have you're already hearing about kind of AI slop out there, right? The sort of like low quality, high quantity AI stuff that gets spit out and people put it out there. It's so important for you to differentiate in this world,
Mhm.
because it is so easy to make all this stuff and messaging and blast out there. You end up really sort of fading into the background and sounding like everyone else. And it's easier to pick up now for people. People are getting more savvy, right? They can
Yeah.
recognize something that's written by Chat GPT or one of the other large language models. And so as soon as they feel that, you're seeing the pushback on social media. People are like, did you write this with AI?
Mhm.
You see the engagement plummet, and people can really tell that it's inauthentic. It feels
Mhm.
disconnected. It feels disjointed. It feels disingenuine. And so what we really want to do is be able to get a good foundation or establish a really strong voice or brand message so we can use that as part of our prompting. Yes, we want to use it, right? Write that blog with it, get that social post out there with it. Maybe even create a great acceptance letter, for new patients and those sorts of things. But don't just do it general Chat GPT voice. Load in your brand script, load in your one
Oh yeah,
liner,
for sure.
share your story and craft that, and then use that as part of the prompt. It's going to come through so much more authentically. You're going to get back such more high quality responses from your prompts, and you're going to have something that is a tool for you it's part of how you train your AI that you're using. And
Mhm.
there's no better investment you can make in, if you're going to implement AI and you're going to put some time, some resources into it, staff time, or pay for a subscription for one of the AI tools, than to actually teach that AI using your brand message and your brand voice. And that shouldn't come from AI. That should come from your clients. It should come from your
Yeah.
reviews. It should come from your team members. It should be something that people feel connected to, both on your team and out there in the market. Not just a generic prompt, kind of AI delivery. So it's important to have it, and it's important to inform it and teach it using your brand message.
Yeah. Awesome. Paul, I think this is so valuable. I wonder if you could share with our viewers kind of what you're going to be teaching in the Bloom track and the Grow track at the retreat in September.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. So on the Bloom track, we're really looking at this sound bite strategy. We're really going to make sure that you have a clear answer to that question. What do you do? You're going to have a clear way to talk about the problem and how to position your brand and how you frame that answer that you're going to give to the problem and what it means, and really walk away with the words and the clear message that you're going to plug into all your nurturing emails and your social media, and kind of have a filter to run all of this stuff through so that your brand voice and message carries through everything that you do and every team member knows what it is. So that's the basics. And that's so important for the foundation of what you're doing, that we're going to have that in that intro track. For the grow people, though, we're going to move into really looking at what is this dynamic and message for the team, and how are you bringing that message forward for team members in a way that they can really relate. And also looking at how can we better improve the relationships amongst team members, whether that's leadership team members or regular team members and providers, admin staff, everybody. How can we more quickly get into a more positive and sort of welcoming place where we're encouraging that team collaboration, and we're really getting quickly into how to build relationships in a strong way with team members, and maybe how to spot ones you shouldn't bring onto your team as well.
Yeah. Oh, so valuable.
It's going to be
Thank
good.
you for being here. I'm so excited.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm excited to see folks hopefully at the retreat this September as well. What
Yes.
what are the details there? How do we get folks in there?
Well, as always, as you've heard on many platforms by now, you can find all of the retreat details on our website, wellnesscentercreators.com/retreats. You can get more details on the podcast as well. We've done some episodes. We have a private Facebook group just for the retreat. And you can always email me directly at Kendall at wellnesscentercreators.com. And I'm happy to answer your questions. I'm happy to jump on a call to see if the retreat would be a good fit for you.
Yeah, hopefully see so many good folks out there. We've got a bunch of repeat folks coming from
We
years
do.
previous.
Lots of leadership teams coming together. It's going to be a really connected community feel. And I think the thing that I always love most about the experience, and that the attendees always say afterwards, is just the time with other
It's the
wellness
peers, right?
business
The other,
owners,
yeah, we're so
with
isolated.
with people going through the same thing and learning together, and being able to integrate things on site and then take it with them, back to their teams. And it's really a powerful 4 days. It's quite enjoyable and lovely.
Yeah, to be able to have those experiences with other people doing the same thing can be really inspiring. It can add a lot of
Yeah.
motivation, and you just don't get a lot of chances to pull back the curtain on so many businesses that with people that are forthcoming and willing to help each other
Yeah.
and provide insights. And it's such a positive vibe of collaboration and an energy there that I will never forget. That's how you feel. You just kind of float around and you feel like you're with your community. You're just like,
well, and yeah, everyone's instantly connected because we just have these shared experiences. And I think one thing about our facilitator team that I love, and why we have the same facilitators coming back, and then the facilitator team is also growing with some of our favorite people and colleagues, is like we're so happy to be honest with the attendees, right, about our experiences in business. And one of my
real.
favorite, maybe a little too real, some might
Sometimes.
say. One of my favorite hours we did last time was just a panel of like our biggest mistakes in business. And I think it it was really, even for me as a facilitator, I felt so seen.
Yeah,
I felt
absolutely.
so seen hearing everyone else's stories. And then I think the attendees just really appreciate knowing like most of us have done it the hard way to get to
Yes.
where we are. And we're just so happy to pass it along and help others not reinvent the wheel.
Yeah. Learn from our pain. We've got plenty of it. We'll share.
So much. Thanks for being here, Paul. Talk soon.
Very welcome. See you everybody soon.
Thank you for tuning in to the Wellness Center Creators podcast. We hope you found this episode informative and valuable.
If you enjoyed the show, please consider subscribing and leaving a rating and review. Your support helps us reach more health and wellness professionals like you.
For additional resources, show notes, and more episodes, visit our website at wellnesscentercreators.com.
We'd love to connect with you and hear your thoughts, experiences, and questions. Feel free to reach out to us through our website or social media channels.
Once again, thank you for listening. We appreciate your dedication to providing exceptional patient care.
Join us next time as we continue exploring the world of wellness center creation. Until then, take care and keep making a difference.
Thanks for listening to the Wellness Center Creators podcast.